college football on ESPN.
Tonight from the Swamp, the LSU Tigers take on the Florida Gators, a team with payback on their minds. A year ago, Florida rolled into Baton Rouge with an air of utter invincibility. But a swarming LSU defense produced big play after big play to sack the #1 team of the nation. Once the hostile crowd took over, the Gators realized they weren't getting out of Death Valley alive. This season, Steve Spurrier has delayed his toughest decision long enough. After a month of musical quarterbacks and a week where they scored just 1 touchdown, he decided to give the ball to sophomore Jesse Palmer, with every intention that it's his team start to finish. Saturday night in the Swamp. This crowd is as loud as it gets, and they are ready to explode tonight, ready for payback. As top-ranked LSU comes calling on 6th-ranked Florida. Gainesville, Florida, gorgeous evening, not a cloud in the sky. Number 12 comes in against number 6. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin. Welcome to primetime college football once again. Yep, it was just a year ago that huge upset occurred over in Baton Rouge. The goalpost came down, and what a celebration ensued, and the Florida fans haven't forgot that. In fact, all we've heard since we got here on Thursday is they want revenge. But as far as the Florida football team is concerned, I think you could ask them, and to the man, they would say revenge is not even on their mind. This Florida team would just like to get a good game under their belt. This is a team that has been besieged by turnovers, particularly in the red zone. And I want to give you a figure and see if you can believe it. The Florida Gators in giveaway-takeaway ratio are 111th in the nation. That's horrible. They fumbled in the red zone at Tennessee. They lost that one in overtime. They almost were upset by Alabama last week as they fumbled in the red zone again. Steve Spurrier is scratching his head. People are asking the question, how good is Florida this year? Well, they're good enough to be #1 in the conference in defense, #1 in or number 2 in the conference in offense. And Jerry DiNardo will be the first one to tell you, you better not come to Gainesville with a lack of respect, because that could be hazardous to your health. It's LSU in Florida coming up. Mike Gottfried and Adrian Karsten are standing by here in Gainesville. Right now, let's go back to the studio and Larry Veal. Larry? They call it the Swamp, and for good reason. They don't even want a breath of air in here. They want it to be hot and humid and uncomfortable as possible on the opposition. And as far as the head coach here of these Florida Gators, he has tried to make it less of a problem for his quarterbacks. In fact, this week, Steve Spurrier said we're not going to play musical quarterbacks anymore. We're going to name one guy. And as we told you in the open, Jesse Palmer is the guy who is going to be the quarterback. Mike Gottfried, I'd love to know your reaction to it. Or you think it's a good idea and about him picking Palmer?
Ron, I think it's an excellent choice. Steve Spurrier was hoping one of the quarterbacks would separate himself from the other quarterback, but statistically, they're almost even. 5 touchdown passes for both quarterbacks. So Steve Spurrier made the decision to go with Jesse Palmer. He figures it's going to give more continuity in his offense, more leadership on the football field for one quarterback to stay in there.
Some good points. Let me show you some figures. I like to play devil's advocate. These are figures on the LSU defense. These are passing yardage against Auburn, Idaho, and Georgia last week. Over 350 yards. And my question to you is, with that kind of pass efficiency, number 79th in the NCAA, can LSU stay with that same defensive system without making some kind of changes?
Ron, that's 1,007 yards in 4 games. Absolutely not. They've got to make some changes in this ball game. They can't play all zone. They've got to mix it up. If they don't, they'll get carved up by Steve Spurrier.
Well, the weather tonight, we mentioned it, it is absolutely gorgeous. 82 degrees, supposed to drop into the 60s tonight. The heat index not really a factor, and the forecast is for clear. LSU won the toss, and they want the football. They do not want to see the Florida Gators have it first. So that means that Kevin Clark will be the deep man, along with Rondell Mealy, and we're underway for the Swamp. Short kick, picked up at the 25, and the return goes to the 32-yard line as Kendall Cleveland came up and took the short kick. Adrian Karsten is on the sideline. Adrian, what do you have for us?
Well, Ron, since fans began to fill this stadium, this game has gone way beyond the walls of the locker room for both teams. For all the LSU Tiger fans who are in here tonight with memories of what happened a year ago tonight, chanting, "Remember Death Valley," they best not forget that since Steve Spurrier came here in 1990, the Gators are 50-2 at home. Now, the first few rows of the stadium are right on top of the teams. How they affect the way they may play, I'll let you know as the game goes on.
Well, it is time of the throw on first down, and he zings it complete to the 42. That's Abram Booty, and he goes across midfield and is tackled at the 46-yard line. 24 yards right off the bat, Mike.
And, Ron, when you have a front seven like Florida has, Morris Watts knows first down is an excellent down for play-action passing. Here he fakes to Kevin Falk, and there's no underneath help. The linebackers took the fake. Abram Booty on the curl route, no underneath help. Good field position for LSU.
Well, Ed Chester is down at the 47-yard line. One of the starting defensive tackles for the Florida Gators, and one of the things that we were going to say tonight in our lineups is the fact that Chester and McGrew last year were not healthy for this ball game at Baton Rouge, and this year that they are. And Chester now goes down on the very first play.
Ed Chester is the barometer. When we talked to Bobby Stoops, the defensive coordinator, he said he's the barometer on our defensive line. Hasn't had the number of sacks that he usually has at this point, but Bobby Stoops felt like he'd have a big game tonight.
Well, Stoops out and visiting with one of the officials already. And we're going to take a commercial break. 14:41 left to play in this opening quarter. We'll be back with more. ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service and by Discovery, taking you everywhere for 50 years. Well, I'm afraid that Ed Chester is still down, and they have brought the cart out on to the field, but he is still, as you can see, resting on his back at the 47-yard line. Some of his teammates have come over to check on him. So right now, when we still have a pause of the action, let's check in with Larry Beal. Larry?
All right, thank you, Ron. Certainly we hope the best for Ed Chester as he's getting medical attention. Let's look through the scoreboard because there was a major surprise today as Nebraska, the #2 ranked team in the country, upended in College Station by Texas A&M 28-21. In the last 9 games previously, A&M had faced the top 10 team. They had gone 0-9. They get revenge for a 54-15 shellacking they took at the hands of the Huskers in last year's conference title game. Tennessee beats Georgia 22-3. Maybe not a surprise, but the margin of victory a little bit shocking. T. Martin again did not put up huge numbers, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, but the Vols remain unbeaten, and their path is clear in the SEC East. Florida State beats Miami for the 4th consecutive time, 26-14 as Chris Wenke throws for a couple of touchdowns. And one more score to pass along here. Penn State and Minnesota just went final a few moments ago as the Nittany Lions bounce back from their loss to Ohio State and win by 10 over the Golden Gophers. Back to Ron Franklin after this.
So we're back. Ed Chester has just been put on the dolly, and they have not taken him off the field as yet. Both teams, not only his teammates from Florida, but the LSU team came over individually to shake his hand and to wish him well. Mike, take us through the replay. You lose him, but it looks as though he just twisted it on his own. Right here.
Right here, I believe, is Ed Chester. Can't tell, Ron.
See, I thought he was the inside guy. It looked like it is his right knee. They have it encased, and it looked as though, Mike, that he just twisted it as he tried to make a move back toward the quarterback. So we are set to go again. First down, LSU. They have the ball at the 46-yard line of Florida. Falk, first carry, he gets nothing. Falk tripped up at the line of scrimmage as 93 Beauchamp came across to knock him down. Also Tico Brown. And here are the starters on offense for LSU. Tyler, with Tommy Banks and Kevin Falk behind him. The receivers, Foster has a broken finger. We don't know how much that's going to affect him tonight. And Baggett gets the start at tight end. Kyle Kipps, the regular, injured an ankle last week, did not even make the trip. Todd McClure, the anchor there in the middle, Williams and Langley are the tackles tonight. Reggie Robinson, a third wide receiver, checks in. Short drop to throw, and he underthrows Booty, and it's probably a good thing because I'll tell you, Tony George was right there to do the intercept as Cohen was putting on pressure. Defensively, here are the starters for the Florida Gators. The down 4. Beauchamp, Derek Chambers in the ball game now, McGrew, and Cohen, who had the pressure just now with the quarterback. The linebackers, Kirsch gets all the publicity, but keep an eye on number 29, Mike Peterson from Alachua. He is very, very good on the weak side. Georgian Cromartie, who is a freshman, gets the start at one of the corners. Brown and Grady are the safeties. Third down, line to make, is the 36 of Florida. But Cohen's jumped off.
I think they had some movement on the offensive line. No, Cohen's jumped on the outside, but it looked like the interior of the line was, there was some movement, and that's what they're talking about.
Al Ford is our referee tonight, and he assembles his group, and they discuss it before the penalty or decision is made, and the penalty stepped off.
Before the ball was snapped, defense was in the neutral zone, making the offense move. 5-yard penalty.
You were right, Ron. They called it on Cohen's.
On
the outside, the defensive end. That made the left tackle flinch a little bit.
So the 5-yard stepped off, and it's third down and 5. So a bit of a reprieve for the LSU Tigers. Tyler picks up one and then pays for it dearly. And the man I was just talking about, Mike Peterson, finishes him off, but Willie Coens is the man who forced him out of the pocket again.
And Mike Peterson did finish him off, Ron, and made that play because Herb Tyler was on his way for a first down, and Bobby Stoops said he has the ability to run to make those first downs.
Jeremy Witten, who is the Poots punter for LSU, stands back just across midfield. And Travis McGriff, the lone safety for Florida. High kick off the side of his foot. And he wanted to pooch it, but not quite this short. Wow, that thing may not be more than 10 yards. Adrian Carson, let's check in with you.
Ron, the word on Ed Chester, the man who just went down for the Florida Gators, the defensive tackle, dislocated right knee. Rather than try and make any improvement or adjustments to that injury here at the field, he is now on his way to the local hospital for x-rays and tests, I am told, by the medical staff for the Gators. Obviously will play no longer in this game.
Okay, Adrian, the wonderful thing for, in case you're unfortunate enough to have something like that happen, that hospital is not 2 minutes from here, so he will be under observation very quickly. First down for the Gators. You can see the kick only went to the 26. Palmer, first throw. Pressure is on, and they're going to tackle him. Now, it's not going to be a sack because he picked up 3 yards, but it's Arnold Miller who makes the stop, and it was Booger McFarland who forced him out of the pocket. Here are the starters offensively for the Gators. Palmer with Frazier and Terry Jackson. The wide receivers, they have a multitude of talented people. Nafis Kareem and Travis McGiff, the 2 starters. Dwight Edge is the tight end, and up front, Zach Pillar is the pillar, so to speak, out there with left tackle. The leader of that offensive group. Blitz right up the middle. The handoff goes to Jackson, and I'm telling you, he's going nowhere. Joe Wesley came on the blitz. And LSU coming out with a different look defensively as we take a look at the starters for the LSU Tigers tonight. The down 3, Mitchell, McFarland, and Jarvis Green. The linebackers, the same as we saw last week. Wesley just made the tackle. Dunson, Jamal Hill, and Arnold Miller. And in the secondary, Cummings and Wood are the corners. Roman and LeBlanc, the safeties. Mark Roman had, 16 tackles last week against Georgia. Third down. Line to make is the 36 of Florida, and Palmer wants a timeout. So there's a break in the action. No score. 11:44 left to play in this opening quarter. backward from the outside, and Palmer gets it away on a very long and dangerous throw. Kareem made the reception, but Mike, that was so far with the throw, that was a danger being picked off.
Well, 3 plays and a lot of movement by LSU on the first 2 plays. On third down, a 3-man rush. Arnold Miller, one of the 3 men rushing, number 98, beat the left right tackle Kenyatta Walker and put a lot of pressure on Jesse Palmer. So LSU showing you a little different defense here early in the ball game.
So Wazalewski comes on to kick it away. Falk is the deep man, and he is dropped off to around the 28. So Florida comes out and stumbles on their first 3 plays. And LSU with the different look defensively as the kick takes an LSU bounce and it just dies at the 36-yard line. So the Tigers will have excellent field position. Well, coming up next week on ESPN, the #1 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes continue their quest for a national title. Joe Germain and company have been on a roll. They'll host Minnesota noon Eastern right here after College game day. Then we'll stay in the Big Ten for a primetime game. Defending co-national champion Michigan takes on Northwestern at 7 o'clock.
Ron, first down's got to be big for LSU because of the strong front 7. So Morris Watts, a lot of play action on first down.
Fakes the run, sets in the pocket, and he has got Booty open just across midfield. A deep curl route, and he caught it at the 48.
Same route they ran on the first down play of the ball game. Again, using play action on first down because of the respect of the front 7. Abram Booty, the wide receiver, deep curl. There's no help underneath. Tony George gets separated. First down LSU. Good call by Morris Watts.
So the LSU Tigers trying to take this crowd out of the ball game, so to speak, early. Booty, 2 catches, 42 yards. Blitz coming off the corner. And the option, the pitch goes back to Falk. And he doesn't have much room to run. Grady, the safety, came over and forced him out of bounds, and they're going to say he picked up 2 yards on the play.
If you remember last year, Herb Tyler had a lot of success running the option against this Florida defense. Forced a pitch, gets good blocks on the outside by Larry Foster, but again, you see the pursuit of this Florida defense.
You know, Foster did a nice job of blocking it. Still, Grady just wouldn't give up, kept battling him. Second down. You see the blitz coming from deep in the secondary. Falk gets a block, turns it upfield, and he's open. And tripped up, that would probably have gone for 6 if he doesn't have his feet taken out from under him at the 30. And it was Cromartie, the freshman, who caught him.
Again, LSU with a toss sweep. And Kevin Falk showing you what a good back does. He just waits for a seam to open. Then here's the cut inside. Missed arm tackle, and Cromartie saves a touchdown. Here's the nice cut up inside. There's the missed tackle by Rod Grady.
LSU Tigers making some noise early. 3 carries, 17 yards for Falk, going for the end zone. And this one's overthrown as Booty had run an out. And he threw the ball deep into the corner of the end zone as Cromartie was trying to cover. Now, we should also tell you that Pollard has been suspended for not going to class, and that's the reason Cromartie is starting tonight. They have great expectations of him, but LSU knows that he's a freshman also.
They're going to go after him, Ron. 4 first downs for LSU, and 3 of them have been passes, so they're trying to throw on that first down.
Good look at Bob Stoops on the sideline, who is, of course, the defensive coordinator. Second down and 10 from the 4 to 30. Falk hit at the line of scrimmage in a while as he snapped back by Beauchamp. That is going to be a loss of about 2 on the play, and rarely do you see Falk hit so squarely and driven back. He normally takes a glancing blow.
And that's why we talk about the front 7. Morris Watts, the offensive coordinator, says the best I've ever coached against. Tennessee, he said, only had 7 first downs and had to punt 9 times. So it tells you that offenses have had trouble running the football against this Florida defense.
So it's third down, Mike, and if they want to keep this one going, they need to take it to the Florida 20. Boy, that snap almost got away from him. Right over the middle. He has got his man, Reggie Robinson. 17 yards. And Herb Tyler continues to impress.
Ron, he's won 26 times in his 32 times he started. He doesn't get rattled. He's a senior. He gets the ball, bad snap off the right. He hits Reggie Robinson on a quick post pattern.
The interesting thing is he knew in that Florida coverage there was a center fielder sitting there, and Reggie still went up, had the concentration to catch the football. From the 15, Falk, left side, fights his way down to the 10-yard line. Mike Peterson trips him up. And again, this Florida crowd, they're cheering, but they are cautious in their optimism right now because LSU is showing them something offensively.
And Ron, I think this is a good move by Jerry DiNardo. He took the football at the start of the game. He told both you and I yesterday, he said, I expect Steve Spurrier to go up early to get the crowd in the ball game. What Jerry DiNardo is trying to do is take this crowd out of the ball game.
No score. Clock running. 7 minutes and 52 seconds to play. Opening quarter. Tyler hit in the backfield and knocked down by Beauchamp. And it's Beauchamp who has been getting penetration. And, of course, anytime you do that, a running play, sweeper, off tackle, or where you're dead.
No, he is just getting so much penetration. And Johnny Rutledge, the linebacker behind him, was right behind him to make that tackle on Falk.
So the ball just inside the 15-yard line. It is third down. They need to take it just outside the 5-yard line. What do you call here?
Quarterback draw worked for him last year. We'll see if Herb Tyler calls the quarterback draw.
This is the 9th play of the LSU drive. Tigers do not want to go for 3. They want 6. Wings it out. What a one-handed catch, but a great defensive play by Mike Peterson. Falk reached up with one hand and grabbed it down. So the field goal will come from about 4 yards closer than it was.
And Ron, this is big right here to get the edge, get up on Florida right away.
Danny Boyd is going to do the place kicking tonight. Last week he got muscle spasms, and he left the game. But he says he's okay tonight. It's a 30-yard attempt. But that right hash mark, plenty of distance, and he's good. So Boyd breaks the early 0-0 tie, and it's 6:28 left to play opening quarter. LSU goes on the scoreboard first. Last year, 95-3 when this game was played. That's how much Florida was outscoring their opponents in the first quarter, and LSU jumped on top 14-0 in that game.
And same thing again. Jerry DiNardo knows the importance of getting on Florida quick. He took the football, won the toss, took the football. He wanted to get points on this board immediately.
Here's the kick. 5-yard line. It's going to be John Capel. Loses the ball, and it's recovered by Florida. He got whacked, and Gillespie comes down on it at the 30-yard line. And I just think Steve Spurrier, it happened right there in front of him. If they had lost another turnover deep in their own territory, I don't know what he would have done.
Well, we talked to him yesterday. He said we've lost 12 fumbles, and he just shook his head. He just can't understand what's happening protecting the football. And here's just a nice tackle. Very fortunate that Robert Gillespie picked that ball up.
For sure. Palmer continues to operate at quarterback. Gets this one complete. That is Darrell Jackson, number 9, the sophomore out of Tampa. Florida, we were talking during the warm-ups and just watching the number of youngsters that they have at wide receiver that are extremely talented. They just have one, like a cookie cutter. Like they call central casting and say, I want somebody 6'1", 195 who can run a 4.3.
And you know the oddball in that is Travis McGriff. He's only 5'8", but he's their best receiver.
Almost broke the all-time school record last week. Here's Terry Jackson. Crosses the 50. Now here comes a flag from deep downfield. And LSU is pointing that that's going to go against the Gators. It was a 17-yard rush from scrimmage by Terry Jackson. Woods finally made the tackle. Let's see what Al Ford has got for us here.
Holding during the run, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat, second down.
Well, more frustration. And you notice he doesn't wear the visor anymore, so we can't keep a visor spike count. He didn't think that sent a good message, but, I mean, these things continue to happen. Fumbles and penalties.
Here's another point, Ron. You wonder how much the Tennessee score is affecting Florida early in the ball game.
Gillespie checks into the lineup, loses the ball, and he gets down on it, I believe, at the 36-yard line. Mark Roman was right there on top of him. Gillespie, who was a freshman out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Look at this number. Lost fumbles, they're 112th in the nation. Turnovers and turnover margin, as we mentioned, off the top of the telecast, 111. That's just so un-Florida-like.
Too many mistakes, and Steve Spurrier decided it was time to go to one quarterback, and maybe that would correct some of the mistakes.
So it's third down. They need to take it out to the 40-yard line to keep it going as Doug Johnson watches patiently on the sideline. Right over the middle, ball is overthrown. Hard to tell who he was throwing that pass to. Gillespie, I believe, and Florida has a player down at the 38-yard line. It is Rod Frazier, the sophomore out of Bradenton, and he is still down as the trainers come out to take a look at him. In case you missed the top of the telecast on the very first play from scrimmage, Ed Chester, the fine defensive tackle for the Florida Gators, a senior out of Spring Hill, went down with a dislocated kneecap, and he had to be taken to the locker room. And now Frazier is down.
Frazier, the brother of Tommy Frazier.
Well, they're checking the rib cage area. And he is going to come up quickly, so this is a pretty good sign. Maybe just the wind knocked out of him.
Here's the hit on Frazier right here.
Took an elbow, Mike. Took it looked like an elbow right there to the rib cage. It was Dunson.
I want to go back to the Tennessee game, because all the Florida people that were here today that we ran into, they were all watching that Georgia-Tennessee game with great interest, because they figure somebody has to derail Tennessee for them to get back in the hunt for the East Championship. Didn't happen. I think this crowd's a little flat because of that, maybe.
But the other thing that's happened to this game tonight, with the injury to Chester, everybody was so pumped up and jumping around, and so it took, because of the nature of that injury, it took 8, 9, 10 minutes to get him off the field. So that affects your teammates. Down the injury right here. So it's been one stoppage after another, Mike. They needed, everybody's looking for a flow.
And Ron, the last time Florida punted, they punted away from Kevin Falk, gave great field position again to LSU. The respect that teams have for Kevin Falk's ability, they will not punt to him.
Wazalewski, look at Falk. He's waving for the LSU folks who were here to cheer louder. He kicked this one to him. It is a driving style. Falk all the way back to the 18-yard line. 25, 30, and pushed out of bounds. Here comes a late, now a second late flag and a third.
I think every official threw their flag on that play.
And I think Cummings was guilty of a clip on the play. So LSU is going to take this possession over with their worst field position of the night, far and away. 46 yards on the kick.
Block in the back by the receiving team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down 2.
So here we go right here.
Try to pin Kevin Falk into the sideline if you're going to punt the football to him.
I'm sorry, Mike.
No, it's all right.
You can see that push right in the back. So they're going to start it off at the 19-yard line.
4 first down plays, 3 throws already on first down. Let's see if Herb Powell continues.
Rondell Neely in the backfield. He gets the pitch, and boy, does he get whacked hard by Grady. The sophomore out of Cuthbert, Georgia, number 47, Grady is a real headhunter and likes to punish. To be a strong safety, you have to be.
Well, you got to come up and support the run, and that's why you are a strong safety, supporting the run on toss sweeps and outside runs, and then being involved in the passing game. If you're going to play Florida, I guess the biggest thing is to have a veteran quarterback like Herb Tyler. Had 222 yards, total yards against Florida last year when they upset him.
From the outside, going to go on top. They got one-on-one coverage, but Booty, the ball was well overthrown. Looks as though Tico Brown had to cover on him. And LSU with a player now down at the 10-yard line, and that is Tyler.
Tony George came on a corner blitz and I believe hit Herb Tyler.
No, there was nobody to fake to there. You could see George and
got blocked, but he got cut, and he rolled right into the foot of Herb Tyler.
Looks like the left foot. You're right. Left foot, left ankle.
This has been something. This is the third injury, which has taken a lot of time, and Herb Tyler looks like it's his knee.
Craig Knoll is warming up on the sideline. He is a redshirt freshman out of Alexandria, Louisiana.
Ron, you just can't afford to lose your veteran quarterback. I've been really high on Herb Tyler. He's 56 out of 85 coming into this ball game. 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Doesn't talk to the media. Is a shy guy. He doesn't want a lot of attention. Just wants to do it on the football field. Corner blitz by Tony George.
You could see, as Mike said, Tony got blocked into him, and his momentum carried him right on into his leg as Jack Maruzzi, the trainer for LSU, was out giving closer investigation along with the medical team. As they warm up on the sideline, looking for some numbers here as far as Knoll. He's played in 2 games. He's 8 of 16, 1 interception, no touchdowns, and has thrown for 100 yards.
Looks like Herb Tyler's all right. Craig Knoll come into the ball game, and I'm sure Morris Watts will call something safe for him.
Well, it'll be a handoff to either Mealy or Fox, depending on who's in there, I'm sure. And you're right. That man, Morris Watts, does not want to have to go with a young redshirt freshman, not down here. There's the running play, and I think you can look up and see number 14 come right back off the bench as Cohen stripped him up. Actually, it's punting time, so Tyler will get a chance to stay over there, and they can work on him a little bit more. Standing ovation for the Florida defense.
Ron, this should give Florida pretty good offensive field position, and I look for Steve Spurrier to throw the ball downfield a little bit more this next series.
Corey Gibbs kicking into a slight breeze. Travis McGriff is the deep man for Florida. Pressure right at the middle, and they knocked him down, and here's a flag. McGriff will make the catch, no fair catch, and he is tackled immediately. Wow, that's good coverage. 40 yards on the punt.
Have a personal foul, roughing the kicker, gets the defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Well, that's big, Ron, there. Looked like Florida had a chance to block this kick.
Manuel is the one who ran into it. Isn't it? Yeah, right there, number 4.
Tried to pull off. Just got too far. Usually when you practice that, Ron, you know the punter is going to be at a certain depth because you look at the tapes, you put a towel there all week, and you'd say that's the point you don't want to go past as you work to get to that towel to try to block the kick. But Manuel got a little bit too far.
Big cheer from the LSU faithful who are over here for Tyler, who comes on the field. You can see that look of frustration on Steve Spurrier's face. Here comes the blitz. Tyler got his Foster dropped it. And you have to wonder if that broken finger might not have caused him to not be able to hold on to the football. Let's check in with Adrian Karsten. Adrian?
Deep bruise to the right thigh for Herbie Tyler. They actually changed the thigh board in his pants there because they thought he was hit so hard. They actually broke that thigh pad. They checked it, put it back in. He's good to go. Didn't even give him any treatment. No ice, no nothing. He just wanted to get back in. He thought just moving that around would actually make it feel better, Ron.
Okay, Adrian, thanks. Good report. Good hustle there, big guy. Second down and 10. Under 3 minutes to play, opening quarter. 3-0 LSU. Banks, the fullback, and he goes nowhere. As you can see, Curse and Reggie McGrew combining down on the bottom of that stack.
Well, when we watched practice on Thursday, Florida, Bobby Stoops was working on Tommy Banks, the fullback. They ran a lot of trap plays against the Florida defense last year with some success. Tommy Banks did not have a running carry in the game last week against Georgia. He's only had 8 carries coming into the ballgame, mainly a blocking fullback.
So it's third down. Tyler got him. Nope, incomplete. Couldn't hold on Robinson. George was there and just enough contact. And I think you could tell by that quick conversation that I'm not sure they were totally on the same page of the playbook.
And Ron, another tough snap to the right of Herb Tyler. Good enough athlete to overcome it, move to the left. Gets good zip on the football to Reggie Robinson. Just good play in the secondary by Florida.
Gibbs again to kick. He was roughed on the last one. Good coverage kick. Very high. Fair catch is signaled for and is made at the 18-yard line. And let's check in with Larry Beal. Larry?
Hey, Ron. Take you across the country. Battle out west, USC hosting Cal. Mike Van Ropforst completing only 45% of his passes. But good things happen when you find R.J. Sowers. Gets you away, 76-yard touch. USC leading 21-7.
Back here in the swamp, it's Florida taking over again with poor field position.
I expect them to go down the field deep here, Ron.
But they are, Mike, on first down. Deep over the middle, it's McGriff. He has been Mr. Steady. And as Mike mentioned, he's not big. 5'8", 189, a senior from right here in Gainesville.
Came into the game with 85 career catches. Jesse Palmer trying to find him across the field, fakes the draw play, hits Travis McGriff on a dig route, which is a down and across the middle in front of Mark Roman.
Roman made that tackle, going to go on top. Almost intercepted at the 25-yard line as the intended receiver was Travis Taylor, a speedster out of Jacksonville, and Davis had the cover. He almost got it.
But I like this play calling by Steve Spurrier because it's going to loosen up the LSU defense a little bit. Now you make them defend the width of the football field and the length of the football field. You put a couple deep throws in there. That'll open up the draw and open up the little short passing game.
Lou Tepper, defensive coordinator for the LSU Tigers, under some fire this week back over in Baton Rouge over the team's performance last week defensively. Palmer puts air on the good one. There's McGriff, and he got behind him. He's gone. 15, 10, 5, touchdown McGriff. 68 yards. Mike, I was watching some other things on the monitor. A flag went down.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on Florida. Now, I don't know what it was for. I was watching a touchdown pass, but it was way back up the field. So they'll kick the extra point a little deeper.
35 yards. Jeff Chandler to attempt this extra point. And he missed it. So the unsportsmanlike conduct cost him, and you can see Coach Spurrier coming down the sidelines, not in a good mood.
Jesse Palmer with a nice throw to Travis McGriff on a corner route. Chris Cummins, number 19, just a bad job of pursuit angle.
Mike, if you go back and look, he had slipped. He's in the right corner of the picture. Watch the slip right here. He gave him the good step. Yeah. And that was that half a step that went the wrong way.
Now that series, Ron, good pass protection by the Florida offensive line. It looked like, again, giving Jesse Palmer time to throw the football. They're throwing the ball deeper down the field in that series of downs.
Steve Spurrier talking with the side judge about
one-way conversation.
Well, but here I go back to my point. I get on my stump again. Why in college? Well, why don't we just say who committed the foul and what it was for, and then they can coach and they don't have to continue to run up and down the sideline.
I agree, because everybody looked at Travis McGriff running in for the touchdown, and the penalty was about at the 40-yard line.
Chandler with the kickoff, line drive, and this one's going to go out of the back of the end zone. Well, coming up tomorrow on ESPN, NASCAR Winston Cup excitement from Talladega. Coverage begins on ESPN2 at 12:30 Eastern. Then it's the Winston 500. 5 drivers battling for $1 million bonus. Last year's winner, Terry Labonte, will also be on hand to defend his title. Race time, 1 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN. Rutledge was there as well, but he's going to have a gain of about 3.
Ron, now as the game develops, Bobby Stoops gets the information from upstairs, the coaches upstairs, of what's the pass protection, what's the pass patterns, and what it looks like on down and distance of what LSU is trying to do. Now you try to zero in a little bit on the game plan and try to figure out different formations, now what you want to do defensively.
Bobby Stoops told us yesterday that Florida is playing more zone this year also because of what the offenses are dictating. Deep route, got his man Booty, and the ball just overthrown.
We had Tico Brown on an island. Abram Booty made a move on him and separated a little bit, but Herb Tyler couldn't get him the football. Too deep a pass. You were talking about Bobby Stoops, and he said a lot of things offensively that's happening. He didn't want to play a lot of man against Tennessee because Tennessee was a running football team. Didn't want the backs of the defensive backs to be to the back coming through, breaking through the line of scrimmage, so he played more zone against Tennessee. A lot of teams will come in here and play 4, 5 wide receivers at one time, and Empty said he didn't want to always be in man-to-man to let the quarterback get a read on his coverage.
Well, Tyler's going to call a timeout. We got 24.3 seconds left until halftime, or until the end of the first quarter. Tyler's numbers, 4 of 10, 60 yards. He has missed his last 4. Just been a lot of stoppages because of injuries and what have you, in this first quarter has gone almost an hour. Tyler goes to the sideline. Well, Falk had a big pickup block just a moment ago as the blitz was coming off the corner, and was not easy work for him. But Falk, to me, Mike, as good a player as he has been, I think he's improved another 50% this year. His attitude, everything. He is really playing all-out football every down.
He just gets better and better, Ron. He runs the football very well. When they move him out as a pass receiver, usually they look to try to get him the football, and he's blocking, as you said. He's a punt returner, forces the other team to kick the ball away from him. He makes an impact on the ball game, quiet impact.
Adrian Karsten, you have more on this subject.
Well, Ron, we're talking about a young man who just very easily could have been in a Gator uniform. He has a lot of respect for Steve Spurrier's first and the Florida tradition's second. He was recruited here after the upset victory by LSU last year. He found Steve Spurrier in that sea of people just to shake his hand. The reason he wound up back in Baton Rouge was because he was about to become a father. Now, with a 3-year-old daughter, 2-year-old son, he really has changed the face of LSU football, and he's happy to be in that Tiger uniform.
Adrian, it's third down, and they need to take it to the 30-yard line. You see the pressure up the middle, and they dump it off. And there's our man. And Falk is going to take it out across the 35 to the 39. And Tico Brown had to make a secure tackle, or Falk was going to take it the distance.
This is a pretty good job by the LSU offensive line of picking up the blitz. Florida brought both inside linebackers and popped a little screen out to Kevin Falk. Nice play call again, trying to set the tempo to this Florida defense.
1st and 10 for LSU. And that's going to be, or this will be, the final play of the first quarter as Tyler rolls and gets it complete. Foster held on at the 45 of Florida. Beg your pardon, it was Moody. 16 yards on the completion, and that is the end of the first quarter. So let's take a break. Florida 6. And the Tigers 3. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back to Gainesville, Florida. 6-3. The Gators on top. LSU receivers in the first quarter. Booty 3 for 58. Falk 2 for 18. And Robinson 1 for 17. Falk getting just as much as he can, and that's not much. He got back to the line of scrimmage. McGrew is on the bottom of the pile. I believe this is, what, the third time that LSU has been in Florida territory in this first half already.
Only been able to cash in a field goal. Reggie McGrew is getting a lot of penetration, number 92, on this LSU offensive line. He had knee surgery 2 years ago. Bobby Stoops said he's the hardest working player on our football team. Making life miserable for the offensive line of LSU.
Yep. He has given them some headaches. And now a timeout is called by LSU, and Tyler will go over to the sideline. So we will have another stoppage in play here with 14:22 remaining in the first half. Think about the timeout just a moment ago. That's the second one in a minute, Mike. A little surprising, but I guess the coach will say if you're not sure, don't go for it. 2nd and 10. Wheels it out complete, and that's catch number 4 for Booty. As he makes the grab and steps out of bounds. Tony George was there, but not much he could do about it. And Adrian, let's check in with you.
I was talking to Abram Booty yesterday, Ron, at their short practice here with LSU, and he told me the coaches expect me. This is Abram Booty now. The coaches expect me and tell me I should have a career game. They told me, yes, Abram, you do a great job getting separation between your defensive backs. You won great routes, but because of Foster's injury to his hand, expect to have a career game. Already 4 catches.
4 for 64. Tyler intercepted, and that's Rutledge. Tyler, I can promise you, wishes he had that back off the wrong foot, throwing off balance. Cohen's is the man who fouled it up and made him throw early.
Ron, your point's well taken. He was throwing off his back foot, and usually when you throw off your back foot, bad things happen to you as a quarterback. Trying to get the ball to Kevin Falk, just didn't have anything on it. Rutledge with the interception.
Hey, what, if he hadn't picked it off, Tico Brown would have. He was moving up as well.
Another missed opportunity.
Shotgun formation for Palmer. He's under pressure, and there's going to be hit, and he's sacked by Jarvis Green.
Couldn't find anything open in the zone coverage of LSU. They were perfect in their coverage. He was waiting for somebody to come open. Jarvis Green, who came into the ball game with 3.5 sacks, is going to put pressure on Jesse Palmer and force him out of the pocket.
Number 20, Gillespie, has come into the lineup. He lines up as he's a running back, and he lines up as one of the tailbacks, and hit from behind. It's going to be an incomplete pass. I was about to say they like to throw to him, but when you get that kind of pressure, as Arnold Miller did, you're not going to throw to anybody.
Wow. Arnold Miller is just killing Zach Pillar. He is coming off the edge, and it's just not a contest in this first part of the ball game. Zach Pillar set and too close to the line of scrimmage. Arnold Miller too quick for him.
so it's third down, and Florida needs to take it out to the 41.5-yard line.
One thing they'll tell him in the break is to get off the ball a little bit more. Talking about Zach Pillar.
Deep over the middle, overthrown. He was going for the feast Kareem, but Woods was there with the cover, and Florida's going to have to punt, and that was far and away their most troublesome 3 downs and out.
That was a nice job. You give Luke Tepper credit. His defensive players are in a 2-deep zone, but they're knocking the receivers of Florida off their routes. Doing a very good job of making contact.
Wazalewski will punt it away, and there's Falk. He is just inside the 35-yard line. 6-3, Florida leads it. Line drive, returnable kick from the 40. And it's going to be knocked out of bounds at the 42. 36 yards on the kick and 2 on the return. Well, old friends collide tomorrow night at ESPN Sunday Night Football. Dan Reeves returns to the Meadowlands with his surprising Atlanta Falcons to take on Danny Cannell and the New York Giants at 8:15. And then ABC's Monday Night Football. Dan Marino and the Dolphins meet unbeaten Jacksonville at 8. ESPN and ABC, exclusive homes of primetime NFL football. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten coming to you from the Swamp, the home of the Florida Gators, Gainesville, Florida. Gators lead it by 3. Tyler under pressure, and he's going down. It's Cohen's again. I'm telling you, Cohen's in Beauchamp. If it's not one, it's the other.
And Ron, it's quick penetration. I mean, they're not being touched. They're beating the blocks of the offensive line. Number 55, Willie Cohen's right in here, beating the block to the inside. And he's right on Herb Tyler before he can get his shoulders turned to throw the football.
You can see Thomasy was going out to try to pick up the outside rush guy, Curse, and he just moved right by him on the inside.
Willie Cohen's is nicknamed the Train, and that's what Herb Tyler sees coming after him.
Well, he was on schedule. Second down. 17. It's going to be delay of game against the LSU Tigers, so it'll be second and 22.
Play clock ran out 5 yards. Still second down.
This has been a defensive football game in the first half.
Well, down on the Florida sideline, number 12, Doug Johnson, is loosening up while the defense is on the field, so maybe that would suggest that Steve Spurrier is about to go to another one-quarterback situation with somebody different. Tommy Banks, nothing doing. Stopped at the 30-yard line. It's going to be third down and a long way. That's Rutledge who put the stop on him as you look at Doug.
And when you go back to Jesse Palmer, who Doug Johnson warming up the second half, that 2-quarterback tandem, the reason Steve Spurrier likes Jesse Palmer is he doesn't get riled up for anything that happens to him in the ball game. He's able to shun it and just keep playing. So I'd be surprised if he brings Doug Johnson in here this early. But Sparky Anderson used to put the hook on those pitchers quick.
They're going to take it all the way to the 48 of Florida. And he just called another timeout. That's the last one that the Tigers have in this first half. So let's take a break. 11:20 until halftime. 6-3 Florida. Steve Spurrier on the sideline, and he's thinking about anything but Heisman right now, because we have just witnessed on the sideline, that is Jesse Palmer, his starting quarterback, and they have ice on his shoulder. His shoulder pads are off. We mentioned to you that Doug Johnson was warming up, and here's that last sack that he suffered, and you see him going down hard on the right shoulder. We'll get a report from Adrian just as soon as possible. Running play, Falk has 5, and we'll have about 7, and that's it. And I'll tell you, Grady has done a nice job tonight. Adrian, let's check in. What do you have on him?
Broken clavicle to the right shoulder of Jesse Palmer, so he's out of this game and for some time to come. I watched that hit on his shoulder, which was high and didn't seem to bother him all that much. But when he came off the field, guys that's when the separation of the bone came. So terrible injury for Jesse Palmer from Florida.
Wow. What else can happen to the Gators? Ed Chester, their starter at left defensive tackle, injured on the very first play tonight. He's gone. Here's the punt by Gibbs. Good coverage kick. And the ball is fumbled, and he touched it, and it went out of bounds inside the 10. Florida will scrimmage at the 8-yard line.
Ron, the good thing about the two-quarterback system is you got Doug Johnson, who's completed 41 of 73 passes, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So he gets a chance to come off the bench now. Was alternating every play before this ball game. You figure now he has got a chance to get hot and carry his football team.
Well, one thing's for sure, Mike. It is his football team now with the injury to Palmer. Here's the running play. Jackson, big opening. Jackson, as a flag comes down from behind the play, and I'll tell you, well, I don't even want to suggest it. That could be holding from where from where the flag was thrown. And look at Spurrier. He knows that's what it could be. If that's the case, this is 2 huge runs that Jackson has had that have been called back.
During the run, holding against the offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Again, fumbles, injuries,
penalties. Well, when you got bad field position for starters, and the second time they've had a big run, it's just brought it back with the penalty.
And Ron, where this flag comes in, this comes from the back judge. I mean, the flag hasn't been thrown yet. In the secondary.
Jackson with another running play, and he'll take it just shy of the 20-yard line. Green is the one who's holding on.
Terry Jackson rushed for 780 yards as a freshman. They moved him to fullback as a junior. As running back coach Carl Frank says he'll do whatever you ask him to do to win for this football team. He's had 4 100-yard-plus games.
That's right. The only one that was not 100 was the Tennessee game. Hesitates, takes it across the 20, and he'll be tackled after a gain of 3. That's LeBlanc, who comes over to put the stop on him, and now it's going to be a 3rd down for the Gators, and they need to bring it out to the 29-yard line. 2nd down, that's right. The penalty was 1st down done over again, so that was the last. The 2 runs have been 1st and 2nd down. Kareem on the completion is tackled immediately. They're going to say to the 26, and let's check in again with Larry Beal.
All right, Ron, Kansas State looking to try to take advantage of that loss by Nebraska, move up in the standings. Michael Bishop, this is a pretty pass. In stride, Aaron Lockett sets up a Brian Goolsby touchdown. 10-0 K-State over Colorado.
I have a feeling that one could get ugly, Mike.
Kansas State, Michael Bishop, one of the best quarterbacks nobody knows about.
Florida 0 of 3 on 3rd down conversions. Jackson not only going to have the 1st down, he'll have it up close to midfield as Dunson was trying to run him down, but he couldn't match him step for step. That's 21 yards.
Ron, when you have a running back that can run with the football and can catch the football, it gives you so many advantages. This is Terry Jackson going to come out of the backfield, and he's going to work against the linebacker, Thomas Dunson, and that's no match. Good, safe throw by Doug Johnson. Terry Jackson moves the 1st down markers.
Actually, Jackson was very smart. He used the umpire as a screen there as well. Gillespie comes back into the lineup, number 20. Play action. Right, there's Gillespie right over the middle. Inside the 30-yard line as Dunson makes the tackle. This is the young man that they are very excited about. Catches well and can fly.
Ron, I believe this is against 2-deep zone right here and trying to sneak a back out of the backfield. This is Robert Gillespie, and they're going to run him down against 2 deep. Fake the draw to Terry Jackson. Now Robert Gillespie comes out of the backfield against that 2-deep zone. Thomas Dunson makes the tackle. It's interesting, Robert Gillespie was at the LSU Florida game as an LSU recruiting prospect last year. from Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Ian Jackson still in the backfield at the same time as Johnson zings the pass, got it complete at the 15, and that's McGriff.
You know, the other thing that comes to mind right now, Ron, is Doug Johnson had what a lot of people would refer to as a bad football game against LSU last year. And he wants to make amends for that in this ball game. Travis McGriff with a good completion, reception.
That's his dad, Lee. He just broke his dad's record. Zach Feller, by the way, was fortunate he didn't get called for a hold on that last
Well, he's
play.
having trouble with Arnold Miller.
He had him in a good embrace. Right over the middle. Almost intercepted by Dunson. Hit him right in the hands.
Ron, you were talking about the play before. Zach Pillar having a hard time with Arnold Miller. So, again, little subtle things that you see in the press box that they put the tight end over here. Now to help on Arnold Miller. So they're going to get two people. They're going to get some people trying to block him. There they double him. So once you see somebody having a little bit of problem, nice little move by Steve Spurrier.
Second down. Johnson got it away, and they're going to say, no, he was down. And that is Jarvis Green, who tackled him at the just beyond the 25-yard line.
And that's what Lou Tepper wants to see. His front four getting pressure. Arnold Miller, Jarvis Green. When you get a front four getting pressure on the quarterback, you don't have to spend linebackers and secondary people to try to get heat on the quarterback. They've been getting quarterback pressure out of Jarvis Green, Arnold Miller.
Well, it sacked him twice for 27 yards. Intercepted by LeBlanc. Nope. They said hit the ground and he trapped it. I beg your pardon.
What a bad throw by Doug Johnson.
He's made two on this end of the field, Mike.
Bad throw. A three-man rush by LSU. Coverage. Dropping 8 in coverage. There's no place to go with the football. Doug Johnson, very fortunate, didn't get that one picked off.
So Chandler's going to attempt a distant field goal. This is going to be a 43-yard attempt. His career long is 28. Gators lead it 6-3, trying to extend that. Good pass, and it was wide right. So something you don't hear very often in the swamp, but some scattered boos from this partisan house. As we have 6:31 left to play until halftime, and the LSU Tiger defense stops the Gators once again. Coach DiNardo with the body English. I don't know if it helped or not, but it was wide right. He was correct. Tiger, lots of time, gets it complete, and it's Booty again. Tyler is doing a nice job in the pocket. They are moving him in the pocket, which helps. But he is so poised there. He seems to be unflappable. And that's after he got shaken up back in that last quarter.
What made that play, O'Ron? Good throw by Herb Tyler, but Abram Booty came back to the ball. He ran his route, was covered, came back to the football, made that catch, his 5th of the night.
The coaches told him it could be one that he might cut out the article in the paper and put on his bulletin board because Foster's injured. They have looked for him a lot tonight. That running play by Mealy goes for short yardage. Rutledge cut him down. Also, Grady came up in the secondary to help finish him off. Going to spot that just short of the 35.
Tough defense to run the football against. Front seven may be the best front seven in college football.
When the crowd comes to life, asking his defense to put up a wall. It's third down about a yard and a half. Tyler, he is going to make it on a second and a third effort as Keith Halsey really took him down hard. And the Gators have a player shaken up, and Tyler is still down.
They had a shot at him for a loss. But Herb Tyler again shows you the veteran leadership that he gives this LSU football team. A run all the way, faking to Kevin Falk over the top.
It's Kearse who missed him first.
Another miss by Tim Beauchamp.
Well, Tyler's okay, but since they came out to attend to him, he will have to go to the bench for a play.
Be another handoff.
Yeah, they could put 11 at the line of scrimmage right now, couldn't they? Craig Nall will come in to take this snap. Rondell Neely is the tailback. Little counter tray. Boy, just nothing doing. And Johnny Rutledge says, you're not coming my way. And you could see Kearse was right there behind him.
And that's what Florida was thinking, too. And everybody up for a run.
You know, an interesting thing also that happened this past week. Coach Spurrier was very hard on this team after that game up at Alabama. And he pointed to the defense and he said, I want more number 2 players playing. But if they're not carrying out their assignments, they can't play. 6 hurries, 2 sacks, and 7 hits on Tyler. Rutledge, we had him for 8 tackles in the first half. Booty makes the catch. The flag is down at the line of scrimmage. And Abram took a really hard shot off balance. Cromartie took him out. But let's check the marker.
Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Ron, what happened on this was they went to an unbalanced line, and one of the wide receivers didn't step up because Abram Booty was off, and this wide receiver needed to step on the line of scrimmage to give him the required number.
So it was Robinson who didn't step up. By the way, to further that point, Bob Stoops even said if those numbers said we want to play more people, but the number 2s have got to learn their assignment.
Just making too many mistakes.
Falk. He's going to take it back to around the 40-yard line as Gerald Warren, another one of the number 2s on defense, is in the ball game, giving a regular a breather. That's McGrew that he's given a chance to rest.
Nice play call again to slow down the rush of Florida. Just a little quick screen to Kevin Falk, getting him outside to run with the football.
Well, I think Mo Watts has done a nice job.
He really has.
When they have been in conservative territory, that's the way he's called it, but yet they have been efficient.
He's done a nice play calling job of keeping Florida's defense off balance.
Yeah. And also keeping their offense off the field, Mike. Tyler got his pass complete for the first down, and Tyler got racked again. Warren came in and hit him just as the pass was delivered. Tyler is really, this is as much of a beating as I've ever seen him take in an LSU game.
Well, after the Auburn game, they said that he took such a beating from the Auburn defense that they didn't run any plays with him running the football against Idaho. But you can see again the pressure of the Florida defense hitting the quarterback.
Yeah, McGrew and Warren sandwiching him. But it's a first down for the Tigers. Clock runs at 2:26 until halftime.
And they've spent all their timeouts.
Going to go on top. Looking for Foster. He's got it at the 5. And touchdown LSU. 51 yards. It was like Foster was a decoy because of the broken finger, and all of a sudden they sent him on a streak.
Morris Watts is calling an excellent ball game. A little play action fake and hitting the post.
Danny Boyd with the extra point attempt. He's got it. And with 2 minutes and 14 seconds left until halftime, our new score, the LSU Tigers 10 and the surprise Florida Gators 6. We'll be right back. Well, there's the man, Larry Foster, the junior out of Harvey, Louisiana, a 51-yard touchdown pass. Give him credit and also give his quarterback credit, who got killed on the play.
Well, Morris Watts, the offensive coordinator, is taking his shot against man coverage. Larry Foster against Robert Cromartie for the touchdown. That's a great feeling when you call a play, a big play, to get your team up 10-6.
And as we had mentioned, Foster with a broken finger, they had decoyed with him, and Booty had been the man they had thrown to all night long, and all of a sudden they said, let's send him deep, and they did. Capel's going to have this one fall out of his hand. Let's check in once again with Larry Beal.
All right, Ron, coming up on the Buick halftime report, shocker for Nebraska, down go the Huskers. We'll have the highlights from Tennessee and Georgia, plus the game day gang in Athens. That's coming up at the half.
All righty. 2 minutes and 5 seconds left here in Gainesville, Florida. It has been a half that Florida on the opening play lost their starting defensive tackle, Ed Chester. Then they lost their starting quarterback, Jesse Palmer, to a broken bone in his right shoulder, a broken clavicle. Johnson wins the pass, has it complete at the 32. The Florida has 2 timeouts left.
And Lou Tepper, when we talked to him, I believe it was Thursday, he said he called around for the opponents of Florida that they played already this year and tried to get a scouting report on both quarterbacks, their views. Then he went back and looked at Steve Spurrier against zone coverage, the routes that he liked to run, figuring that he'd try to hit a zone on these routes. Wow.
Joe Wesley just dropped a touchdown. I mean, there was nobody close to Joe. And the senior out of Brookhaven dropped it. Watch this.
Well, Doug Johnson averts a tragic throw here because he threw it right to Joe Wesley for the 6 points, but Joe Wesley couldn't hold on. Every day in practice, you work drills with your linebackers. Throw them the ball so that they can catch those interceptions.
Terry Jackson, little drag route over the middle, got incomplete, and he's out to the 50-yard line on a first down. They don't have to use the timeout.
This is a good play because you're working Terry Jackson against the linebacker. Now it's Charles Smith in there. Last year versus LSU, 4 interceptions. And all talk this week was some of the Florida players talking about they remember the LSU fans tearing down the goalposts.
Johnson just too tall for Travis Taylor.
This is what's called a smash route, Ron. What you have is a corner, and you got Travis McGriff in the flat. And Travis McGriff was wide open in the flat. He was the easy throw for Doug Johnson, but he tried to put it in there to Travis Taylor, and just an incompletion.
So it's second down. Short drop this time and a quick out pass. Jackson, and this is Darrell Jackson. Ball is loose. LSU is recovered at the 48-yard line. Johnny Mitchell with the recovery for the Tigers.
They just can't get anything going. They can't sustain it. Fumbles have been, as you look at the turnover picture here, the same route, a smash route on the other side. Darrell Jackson with the catch, trying to get more yardage, gets the ball stripped. Joe Wesley in there. Clarence LeBlanc.
I think maybe LeBlanc knocked that ball out of there. But another Florida turnover. Pressure on Tyler. He's going to have to run. And he's going to be tripped up. That's a nice open field tackle by Coens.
And Herb Tyler again shows you he avoided the sack for a 10-yard loss.
Beauchamp is the one who forced the play, forced him out of the pocket.
This is where LSU, they spent their timeouts.
This hurts him right here.
1:03 on the clock.
Jesse Palmer headed to the locker room early. Broken clavicle. So 2 starters lost tonight by the Florida Gators. Big opening up the middle. Fought inside the 40, and Peterson holding on for dear life, and Kevin was by everybody for 13 yards before they could turn around.
They have just shocked this Florida football team on both sides of the ball. Kevin Falk shows tremendous quickness tonight, taking that football.
For the end zone, and it's too far as they go into the hedges. And I mean the crowd. Al Jackson's just
Hold out there.
Al Jackson, number 71, Ron, he had a takedown.
I tell you what,
and everybody viewed it.
Oh boy, watch it right there.
Right here, he's got a hold of
That's Warren.
Gerald Warren.
Yeah. Tell you, there are some guys at some dance clubs in the state doing two-step tonight that aren't holding their honey that close. Whoa. Well, but Al was protecting his quarterback, so he did, and the flag went down, and the penalty pushes it back to the 46. 21 seconds left until halftime. And LSU's just going to do the smart thing, give it to Falk, let him see if he can break one open and just run the clock down. Peterson again on the tackle. Those linebackers have made a lot of stops tonight. In fact, to back up Mike's point, just the whole front 7, everybody has forced the issue.
And Ron, Steve Spurrier has to find a way to settle his football team down. They're playing like a nervous football team.
It is halftime here in the Swamp, and there are some surprised folks in this 85,000 plus, because our score at halftime is the LSU Tigers 10 and the Florida Gators 6. Now with the Buick halftime. Our score at halftime 10-6. Mike Godfrey, the total conversation down in the press box at halftime. Why? But Florida was playing very tentatively, like they didn't want to make an error.
Well, it's almost like they're waiting. Then Arnold Miller comes back and gets him from the blind side. Joe Wesley, a 3-man rush, which a lot. Lou Tepper has gone to a 3-man rush, dropping 8 players. Joe Wesley missed an excellent opportunity for an interception there, but they stopped the Florida offense.
Well, there are the numbers in the first half. And, Mike, what sticks out at you most?
Well, I think the fact, yeah, again, Florida not being able to run the football. We expected LSU to have a problem, but total yards, 222 yards by LSU. Penalties, turnovers, everything's about equal, but it has been a ball game that Florida has played very, very nervous.
Well, the lowest halftime total under Spurrier. Capel with the...
He's got a lane here.
Boy, does he ever, and this one can motor. Out over the 45, the 50, and finally pushed out of bounds. They're going to mark it down at the 40-yard line. Let's check in with Adrian Karsten. Adrian.
Well, Ron, what they talked about in the Florida locker room is exactly what we just saw. For the first time as they came out of their training room, I got the feeling of a sense of urgency from the Gators. They talked about a lot of things. The reputation of the Swamp, the 50-2 home record since 1990. Specifically, this falls on the offense now on Doug Johnson. Remember, last year in this game against LSU, he got in trouble trying to read the signals in from Steve Spurrier. He's got to pay attention to that from now on.
Terry Jackson, the ball carrier. You could see the last time that Florida trailed at halftime here in the Swamp was 1995 against Tennessee.
And, Ron, here's where they've had problems with this LSU defense. And, again, I give Lou Tepper credit. He's changed a little bit. He's rushing 3, dropping 8. He's knocking receivers off their routes. They've done a very good job of changing up coverages. The 3-man rush again against Doug Johnson. Going to drop 8 in coverage.
Swings his pass complete. That's McGriff. And he will take it quickly inside the 20-yard line to the 17.
Ron, when you do this, when you get a 3-man rush, if you block it well, and they did do a good job of blocking the defensive line of LSU. It's a 3-man rush. You got a lot of time now. A little stun inside here, but good time for Doug Johnson to wait for Travis McGriff to open. And he shows a good strong arm throwing that curl route.
Good for 18 yards to McGriff.
Steve Spurrier was out on the field, and I think one of his wide receivers had to be on the line of scrimmage.
So this is a timeout. 13:41 left, third quarter. We'll be right back. ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars, and by Transamerica. The people in the pyramid are working for you. Johnson from the 17. Tipped away at the last moment by Dunson.
Boy, he was looking for Travis McGriff all the way. Thomas Dunson just read the eyes of the quarterback, Doug Johnson, because he did not look off at all. He was looking to Travis McGriff, waiting for him to open on the post route. They've had success down here, Ron. Terry Jackson catching the ball out of the backfield against the linebackers.
Good protection. He forces this one in, but tipped and almost intercepted. Doug Johnson tonight, Mike, that is 4 passes that rightfully show, so he should have had intercepted tonight. He has really made bad decisions.
He's trying to force things in there. He had Terry Jackson open right over the middle, but he tries to get the ball to Nafis Kareem.
And for Florida fans saying, you know, what about the content? Once the ball is tipped, all interference is off. 8 of 4 for Doug Johnson, 113 yards. So now it's third down, and they need to take it to the 7.5. Got this one inside the 10. Terry Jackson tackled by Rayon Hill. Now decision time.
Ron, the previous play, Terry Jackson was open over the middle. Now that was the play call to try to get the ball to Terry Jackson. See him sitting right here. He's wide open, and Doug Johnson tried to force it in. They came right back to the next play to get the ball to Terry Jackson.
Fourth down, and they'll go for it. They need about 2.5 yards.
I keep working Terry Jackson.
Wide open over the middle. Touchdown. Aaron Kenny, his tight end. To attempt the extra point. So the Florida Gators have come out of the locker room and ignited this crowd with a long opening kick return. And now with this touchdown pass, and it's Aaron Kenny, the tight end. The crowd has been reignited.
Ron, that whole series was built around Terry Jackson and what he did. He only caught the ball one time, but he opened up receivers for the touchdown.
1 yard deep, and that's Mealy. Wow, what a special teams play. And that is Teddy Sims, a reserve weak side linebacker, a sophomore out of Belle Glade, and he got around the wedge.
Well, Adrian talked about the halftime adjustments, and he talked about Steve Spurrier talking about the challenge of protecting your home field, and that's exactly the way Florida has come out on offense and special teams. Now it's the defense's turn.
This is the worst start for LSU tonight, field position-wise. Inside their own 15. Tyler's got Booty at the 27. He'll take it to the 29. Peterson defensively, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Abram Booty just does a nice job of pushing off here and getting a separation to get open on the curl. Good play action fake by Herb Tyler. Mike Peterson making the tackle, but a good quiet the crowd call.
Booty now with 6 receptions on the night. Had 5 in the first half for 71 yards, his longest 24. Nothing doing on this running play. Derek Chambers comes across on Kevin Falk. They will nail him for a loss.
Well, Derek Chambers in the ball game because of Ed Chester. It makes a play in the backfield. Again, the handoff is taking a little time, Ron, and you see the penetration at Florida's defensive line. They're 4 yards up the field.
McGrew has just come out. As Gerald Warren, number 61, is in replacing him.
Which would set up a fullback trap. That's a possibility.
Tyler running for his life. Chambers will make the tackle. And it was Beauchamp who forced it and forced him up into the pocket.
Yeah, Beauchamp is in the backfield again, beating the right tackle. Getting pressure on Herb Tyler, not getting him a chance to set.
So third down, and the LSU, to keep it going, needs to take it out to their own 39. Florida 13, LSU 10. About to go under 11 minutes to play, third quarter.
They got him again offside.
Yep, they were going to wait and see who the call comes against. I saw the left tackle flinch. But now whether that's who was flagged, because that play should have flagged it before the snap.
Yeah, again, yes. Herb Tyler must be using a good voice inflection, trying to draw this Florida defensive front off.
Offside, 5 yards, still third down.
Penalties have hurt. Number 55, Willie Cohen's. He's pointing to the tackle, just like you had talked about. You'd seen the tackle flinch. He pointed to him, but a lot of times defensive linemen, when they jump offside, are going to point at somebody because they don't want to take the fall.
That's right. So they get a reprieve. Third down, and now about 4 yards. The fingertips of Falk. Ooh, my goodness. Probably one that he should have held on to. Grady was out there with him.
An option route, and Herb Tyler put it right on the money.
Corby Gibbs up to him to get away. A good kick. McGriff is back deep and is dropped off to inside his own 30-yard line. Good coverage kick. Very high, turning over. Fumbles the ball. Gets on it back inside the 10-yard line. Chris Cummings with a great job of coverage.
Ron, let's take a look at the last drive that Florida scored on and watch Terry Jackson, how he affected this drive. Out of the backfield, he's open, but they don't throw him the football. Doug Johnson tries to force the ball into Kareem. Incompletion. Come right back. Hit him out of the backfield against the linebacker. Big yardage. Came right back and used him as a decoy. He opens up the tight end for a touchdown.
50-yard kick, loss of 8 on the return, and Florida will run the football. And the man that Mike was talking about, Terry Jackson, he will take it out just across the 10. Let's check in with Larry Beal.
Thanks, Ron. Purdue and Wisconsin. Rare night game for the Badgers in Madison. Mike Samuel cutting it up. Forget the fumble. Touchdown, 7-3, Badgers over Purdue.
Second down, hit in the backfield, penetration by Johnny Mitchell, and Terry Jackson goes down, and that's going to be for a loss.
Both teams' defensive line have made some big plays in this ballgame, and quiet so far in this ballgame has been Anthony McFarland, the All-American, but I'm sure he's drawing double teams, and you can see him being double teamed right there, which opens up one-on-one for Johnny Mitchell, Jarvis Green, and Arnold Miller.
Third down, Florida. They need to take it out to the 21.5-yard line to keep this one going. McGriff at the 20-yard line, and it's good for the first down. LeBlanc was there on the cover, but not quickly enough.
Well, when you got to have it, you go to your sure-handed receiver. He came into this ball game third in the nation, averaging 140 receiving yards per game. Doug Johnson just hitting him on the quick slant. Travis McGriff for the first down. Steady player.
Yeah, we mentioned that he broke his dad's record with that second catch tonight, or tied it. Lucius Jackson has 10 and now 15 yards and no flag on this one.
The difference in the ball game right now, Terry Jackson, the way he's come out in the second half, they're using him. He hurt now, but they're using him in pass receptions. They're using him running the football. He has opened up the game offensively for Florida.
9 carries, 56 yards. Means Gillespie will come into the lineup. This is Gillespie. Turns it up, and you see why they're excited about him. Boy, does he have some jets.
Ron, it is an excellent run, but you see, again, Aaron Kinney with a nice block, but Doug Johnson, you heard him say red 38, which had to be the outside zone to the right side. He saw a reduced area over there to attack the LSU defensive front. Again, the quarterback has to be smart to get him out of bad plays. He did that.
Clock about to go into 8 minutes to play. Third quarter. Florida by 3, 13-10. Draw play. Gillespie still dancing around, and he's going to cut it back into the middle for another first down as Allen will make the stop on him. I'll tell you, he could either give you the jets or he could give you the quick stop and go.
Well, he is impressive.
Let's check in with Adrian Karsten.
Ron, the speed at which Steve Spurrier and his backup quarterback are trying to get the signals into Doug Johnson is really amazing. One thing they learned from the Georgia tape earlier this week is that LSU is a cerebral kind of defense. They like to get up, take a look, and then react, but Florida's really on top of them fast here, Ron.
Gillespie, third straight carry, and he's going to be knocked down by Wesley, and also Mitchell was there, and this is his shortest carry in this series. He's only going to have about 3.
What Adrian's talking about, Ron, is that they're trying to get the line of scrimmage real quick. They're not huddling. LSU's waiting for their signal from the sideline. You can see them. They're a little slow getting lined up here, and that's what Adrian's talking about.
Johnson, deep drop, lobs it over the middle. There's Gillespie again, and he's tagged hard by Rayon Hill, but it is another Florida first down.
Well, when Steve Spurrier finds you bleeding a little bit, he's going to cut you a little bit more, and that's what he's finding right now, bringing his running back out of the backfield. This is Gillespie right here coming out of the backfield, making a catch. They haven't stopped that. He's working against linebackers. The zone drops are deep, and LSU having trouble with the back out of the backfield.
So it's first down. The line of scrimmage now, the 28. Outside pressure as Johnson steps up and delivers, and it's intercepted at the 10-yard line by Booker. A flag is down, and Booker trying to take it the distance, which he will. Let's see if the flag is LSU or Florida.
Defense, offside. 5-yard penalty.
Jerry DiNardo just heard Al Ford say defense offside. You saw the defensive right end trying to get the jump, and that split second just cost them a 90-yard touchdown return with an interception.
Again, it's what you talked about earlier, Ron. Doug Johnson trying to fit balls in when they're not able to fit them in, and he gets away with another interception. I think I'd keep throwing to Robert Gillespie out of the backfield.
Oh, I was going to say, and I'm certainly not picking on Doug because he's a fine young athlete and quarterback, but he's got the forces tonight. He's just really trying to get passes in that don't fit. Eugene McCaslin comes into the backfield. Number 32, junior out of Tampa. He's going to take it to the 20. LeBlanc will put the stop on him. So it'll be second down and about 2 for the Florida Gators.
A lot of substitutions by Steve Spurrier. Again, not huddling. Terry Jackson on the sideline, injured. They need him back in the ball game. Not huddling. Trying to catch LSU a little slow coming out of the huddle.
Looks like they're retaping that left ankle.
Check off their run here.
McCaslin breaks off a tackle. They'll take it to the 10. It'll be first and goal, Florida.
You know what I think happened on that play, Ron? I'm watching Doug Johnson. I think Steve Spurrier's calling the checkoffs from the sideline because Doug Johnson's getting to the line of scrimmage, and he's looking over to Steve Spurrier to see what he needs to check to. Check to a running play here, a draw with Eugene McCaslin. So I think Steve Spurrier's trying to help Doug Johnson with the automatics.
10 plays, 84 yards so far on this one. You can see almost 5 minutes consumed from the clock. McCaslin, little hop, step, and jump, and he's inside the 5, down to the 4. Ray Hill will make the stop, but some nice blocking by that offensive front of Florida.
And Ron, this is where they had trouble last week against Alabama and Mike DeBose's team. 6 times inside there, 3 turnovers and 3 field goals. And Steve Spurrier, when he told us, he said, I've never had a game like that. He said, nothing worked down there. And then finally the last drive, we were going to run it in. We fumbled it in.
It is loose. Florida has recovered.
Anthony McFarland, Ron. They didn't block Anthony McFarland. He had a big shot at causing this fumble. He beat the snap in. And you get a little shaky when you fumble the ball down there a lot.
I'll tell you what, if they had fumbled that one from the 5-yard line, then they have had to take Coach Spurrier to the locker room.
Yeah. Booger McFarland in the backfield. We're going to take a timeout here.
So with 4 minutes left in the third quarter, Gators 13, the Tigers 10, and it is Florida who is threat made. We'll be right back.
With exactly 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter, Steve Spurrier has just reminded his offense, if we can't run it in inside the 10-yard line, we don't belong down here. Throughout this week, he has claimed that his offensive line, after last week's game against Alabama, convinced him that once they get down in the red zone, especially inside the 10-yard line, yes, they can run it in. This is a gut check, Ron.
Well, Adrian, here are the numbers in the first half. Florida rushing, they attempted it 9 times for 18 yards. And this quarter alone, 11 rushes for 63. So maybe a little blocking scheme change at halftime, or certainly a talking to. Something has worked well.
Yeah, I think now Adrian was talking about running the ball, and they fumbled. They didn't block Booger McFarland. I think you've got to come in and try to throw it in right here. And when I see Doug Johnson, you know he's going to look for Travis McGriff. So LSU better defend number 3 on this play.
Mike, the interesting thing is, what is it? Do you grip it too hard? Or why is Florida? They have as good a collection of athletes as anybody in the country. And just like they fumbled, they stood a chance of losing another one in the red zone. I mean, what happens to a team?
You almost get so tight wanting it to happen that you make mistakes. And I said before at halftime that I thought this was a nervous football team, but they settled down, came out in the third quarter, and I think, again, Travis McGriff, to me, it's a throw right here. Doug Johnson trying to get the ball to Travis McGriff.
Well, it's the 13th play of the drive. 4 wide receiver set. See if LSU brings somebody. They probably will. And they have just gotten a delay of game penalty.
See what's happening. Doug Johnson is looking to Steve Spurrier. They try to get up to the ball fast enough so that they can look to the sideline, and if he'll give him the signal to go ahead and run the play or change it. And they just got up there a little bit faster. There he's saying, go ahead, run the play. Again, trying to call the play from the sideline after he sees the defense.
So third down at 12. Pass delivered and almost intercepted by Booker.
Wow. Tried to get it to McGriff. LSU's had some opportunities, Fred Booker, to pick that one off. Just trying to force the ball into Travis McGriff.
It's going to be a 30-yard attempt as Chandler will attempt this one from the right hash mark. He got it. I mean, he didn't get it by much, but it still counts 3. So the Florida Gators have scored for the second time in this second half. And our new score is 16-10.
Ron, he didn't make it by much, but he got it through. Knuckleball. There's a worn-out coach right there. He's trying his best to try to settle this offensive team down. He's starting to make the adjustments from the sideline, trying to help the quarterback.
Friday night fights on ESPN2. This week's main event, Israel Cardona against Golden Johnston in a junior welterweight bout. And more of our look back at the one and only Muhammad Ali in our Classic Fight segment. Plus news and analysis from your host, Brian Kenny and Max Kellerman, each week, 8 o'clock Eastern on Friday Night Fights. (16-10). The Florida Gators leading over the LSU Tigers. As you look at Falk, back deep, along with Needle. Taking it for 3, and this is Falk. Here comes the flag in from the far sideline, and now another one.
I think one of these is going to be on Florida.
Both flags were for illegal blocks against the kicking team. 15 yards, first down.
And let's check in with Larry Beal.
All right, Ron, Purdue and Wisconsin, and Mike Samuel says, hey, who needs Ron Day? And I can do this myself. He's not exactly Carl Lewis, but he makes it in. 14-3 Badgers over the Boilers.
We're under 4 minutes to play in this third quarter. Tyler going to go on top. And this one is overthrown as they tried to get Foster out there again, working against Tony George, and nothing doing.
Better coverage that time, Ron. Help with the free safety. Tony George on Larry Foster. Again, a blitz by the secondary. Robert Cromartie on the blitz, trying to heat up Herb Tyler on first down.
Dangerfield comes into the lineup, redshirt freshman, number 89, out of Morgan City, Louisiana. Well, it goes without saying there is more than a little bit of confusion on this play.
Yeah,
and now here comes a timeout.
Spend one here.
So let's take a break. 3:29 left to play, third quarter. Jesse Palmer back on the sideline. You can see his arm in a sling, broken clavicle. We're trying to get a report and find out how many weeks they think he will be lost. Crowd is really getting loud. It's a second down and 10. Tyler's pass to Booty. Did he catch it? Yes. Inbounds. Now they're saying incomplete.
Ron, they've had success getting the ball to Abram Booty on the backside of a trips formation. They put 3 wide receivers to the front side, and they work him one-on-one on the backside against Tony George. Yeah, good call.
see, this man right here is winding the clock. He's giving me credit for the reception. Who called it incomplete? That's my question. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with, but I mean, he was the guy who was standing 2 feet from the play. How can someone else 30 feet down the field make a better call? Never mind.
That's what Larry Foster's asking.
Well, I mean, doesn't it stand to reason that the guy who's standing next to it? A great effort. He gets tackled at the 50. Tico Brown really took him down hard, and it's good for 18 yards.
Good pressure by Javon Curse, the linebacker, number 42 on Herb Tyler. Gets by the left tackle, Lewis Williams, and then here's the throw to Foster. Excellent effort trying to get more yardage.
Boy, got turned to flip. 2 catches, 69 yards. One of those a 51-yard touchdown. Playing with a broken finger tonight. Here comes the option to the open side, and he's going to be dragged down at the line of scrimmage. Nice job by Beauchamp.
They had a mix-up. Florida had a mix-up in their alignment, and they're trying to get Javon Curse to go the other side here, and Beauchamp makes the play. Curse is in good shape. He's right where the play's going to come. They had him move, but Tim Beauchamp makes the tackle on Herb Tyler.
Beauchamp coming across quickly, but the offensive line is what drew him offside. And Adrian Karsten, what do you have for us?
Ron, let's go way back to the second play of this game when Ed Chester unfortunately got injured. And the instruction then to Tim Beauchamp, that defensive end, was to keep a shoulder to the inside. Always look inside, not only on runs like we just saw him make the stop there, but also on his pass rush, because the LSU offensive line has been giving him a little bit wider gap than they would normally to try and hook those guys who will run the option. So small adjustment for Beauchamp has really helped him out here.
Second down and 18. Tyler running for his life, and he's free. 45, gets outside at the 50, gets a pickup block, and is going to be pushed out of bounds. It's Booty who came back and helped him out, and Grady finally escorted him out of bounds.
Well, Ron, you're right. Booty came back and made a hit on Robert Cromartie. Again, Herb Tyler showing you his running ability, avoiding the 10-yard sack. Javon Curse puts the pressure on, gets a little too deep in the backfield. Herb Tyler steps up inside. Then he picks up some excellent blocks on the outside. There's one, and there's Booty's block.
Second longest run tonight by LSU. Third down. They need to take it to the 40 of Florida. They set up the screen, throws it high, and Falk gathers it in. And it's going to be tripped up as he'll take it inside the 40 to around the 36. Mitchell defensively, Anthony Mitchell.
Well, on the other side of the field, Ron, Morris Watts has hit this screen about 3 or 4 times in key situations when he expects a blitz, lets them come through. Kevin Falk just sits there, picks up the screen, and picks up a first down. So Terry Jackson on the other side, Kevin Falk, the receiver out of the backfield for LSU.
Number 55, Collins, coming back into the lineup. He's been the penetration guy. He's one who has given LSU some problems. Tyler sets deep, going to go long. Looking for Booty, and the ball intercepted by Tico Brown of the Florida Gators.
Perfectly. Sitting right here, but he'll break to the ball as soon as he sees Herb Tyler interception by Tico Brown.
Both players came down on George. You can see George gets the brunt of this one from his teammate, and he was very slow in coming off the field. Gillespie is the setback behind Johnson. He'll get the handoff. You see the cut block for him. Turns it upfield, and it's going to be a gain of over 10 yards for him again. Boy, it's not big, but he is very swift.
Ron, he has excellent speed. Ryan Kalik, the left guard, number 51, was the person the guard that made that chop block that you were talking about that opened up Robert Gillespie.
Gillespie, 35 yards, 5 attempts. Gillespie to the right side. You can see Cooper Carlisle out there trying to block for him, and then Doug Johnson comes back and tries to help his running back. Finally stopped at the 31. And I can promise you the offensive coaches are thinking right now, Doug, we've already lost our starter tonight. We don't need to lose number 2.
Now, just get in the way, but don't try to block him.
And it was McFarland he was trying to block.
And Doug Johnson's going to pick up a block. Robert Gillespie's going to retreat here. And he tried to pick off Booger. Number 94.
Oh, my. That could have been the last play of the third quarter. Clock is running down quickly. Well, they get the snap off and the quick out pass. Jackson and Darrell Jackson will take it for a gain of a couple. And when we open play in the fourth and final quarter, it's going to be a third down and about 8 yards for the first down. So that is the end of 3. Let's take a break. Our score is 16-10. The Florida Gators leading the LSU Tigers. So we're back 16-10 as we get set for the final 15 minutes of play between the LSU Tigers and the Florida Gators. Just overthrew Nafis Kareem, and wow, just a little shorter on that one at 6.
He had what he wanted, Ron. Nafis Kareem, a parade All-American out of high school, 5th-year senior going into the spring. Steve Spurrier said, you got to do it now. And he's had an excellent spring and a fall, but just overthrew him.
Only the 4th punt of the night for Florida. Wazalewski waits for the snap back at the 19-yard line. Falk is the deep man for the Tigers. Good coverage kick. Very good one. Falk back to the 21. Gets by one man. Has 5. Has about 8 yards. That's all he could get. And the LSU Tigers will take over with decent field position. Now, the latest edition of ESPN Magazine is on the newsstands now. Look for Randy Moss in the cover. Plus, check out college football section featuring profiles of Georgia's Quincy Carter, Kentucky's Tim Couch in the recruiting battle for quarterback Chris Sims, some former NFL star Phil Sims, all in the current ESPN Magazine. Pitch back goes to Falk, gets a block and turns the corner and is going to take it out to the 37-yard line before Tico Brown will make the stop on him.
And he got a nice block from Larry Foster, but I think Larry Foster got hurt on the block on the option.
Yeah, it looks like it. He is
did a nice job on the outside tying up the corner.
Both of these teams have sustained a lot of bumps and bruises. Florida has lost 2 of their starters for a while. Big opening. And flags are down all over the place.
Almost looked like the snap was late on that play.
And like everybody else moved, the ball didn't come up.
Movement by the offensive line. 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
Let's check in with Larry Beal.
All right, Ron. Cal coming back on USC. They were down 21 points. Justin Vetter, the lefty, rolls out. A.J. Kunkel. 31-25. Trojans hanging on 4th quarter.
LSU with the second down, and they need to take it out to the 39-yard line to pick up the first. Tyler, lots of pressure, and he's going to be knocked down by Chambers.
Tim Beauchamp was the first one, Ron, that got him moving, and then Derek Chambers made the tackle. But Beauchamp again coming from the outside. Initially put his hands in the face of Herb Tyler.
Beauchamp has had a really outstanding night. The senior from Oak Hill, Florida. Chambers, as we mentioned, coming in replacing Ed Chester, who injured or broke his kneecap back in the very first play of the game. Chambers, a sophomore out of Lawndale, North Carolina, has filled in very nicely. Pressure. That's Javon Kearse who's after him. And Tyler will fall down back at the 12-yard line. Chambers again as Kearse got there first, and then Chambers ran him down.
Well, they've had heat on him all night, Ron. Herb Tyler's run for his life. Pressure to look at it. Go ahead.
10 hurries, 3 sacks, 18 hits, and 2 interceptions. McGriff is back deep. Corey Gibbs, 2 yards deep in his end zone. Fair catch is called for. It is made at the 50. So there's a break in the action following that 38-yard punt. ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by the new 1999 TL. Luxury, performance, pick 2. Alpha Tau Omega here on the Florida campus. Steve Spurrier's fraternity house during his days as a student. In fact, that's where he met Jerry, his wife, and she became his ATO little sister. First down from the 50. Quick pass. That's actually a lateral, and he can throw it. He's got his man wide open. That's Taylor, and Taylor will score. McGriff takes the lateral, the pass, or the ball thrown away from the line of scrimmage, meaning he could throw it downfield, and he did to Travis Taylor, and the sophomore from Jacksonville credited with a 50-yard touchdown. Extra point is blocked at the line of scrimmage, hit the goalpost, and is no good.
Ron, you always like when you get the ball around the 50-yard line, if you are going to call a gimmick play and you practice them, and if the ball's on the right hash around the 50, you call it, and this is a perfect play for Florida to call here to throw out. You mentioned it, a lateral. Travis McGriff leads it right down the field for Travis Taylor, touchdown.
Travis Taylor, one of those I mentioned back in the first half, the number of great athletes they have at wide receiver. And Travis Taylor, one of those, a real flyer out of Jacksonville. And he showed that nobody was going to catch him. And look at this, Doug Johnson and Travis McGriff. As Travis is congratulated on throwing his first touchdown pass of the year. So he broke his dad's record tonight in receiving, and now has thrown a touchdown pass. And this gentleman here has to be feeling a little bit easier because he has had some tough moments tonight as Jesse Palmer was gone, and he is gone for several weeks with a broken clavicle. Here's what happened to Palmer in the second quarter, in case you missed it. He comes down on this stop play, and he comes down very hard on the right shoulder. Taken to the locker room, and the x-ray show it is a broken clavicle. Chandler to kick it off. Falk and Mealy back at a dual safety. It's on the ground and picked up by Cleveland. One of the upbacks, and he'll put him in decent field position around the 32-yard line. Alexander on the special teams making the stop for Florida.
Probably Florida offsides on the kickoff.
Kicking team, the 15-yard penalty in the previous spot.
Yeah, you want them to kick this one over again. Stand to get really good field position out of this. So, you know, it's like every time this man gets to breathe a little easier and maybe smile about things that are going on, he gets an extra point blocked and then has 12 men on the field, so his special teams on back-to-back plays, you know, don't do good.
The 9 penalties, and usually when you go out, your personal protector or your kicker counts your players to make sure you don't have too many on the field.
Let's don't look and see who counts, because he's not good at it. Whoever did it on the last
play. They're going to change his responsibilities. LSU got a chance here to get great field position.
Yeah, they really do. And the thing is, they've been kicking the ball, they've been knocking it line drive, so Falk doesn't get it. But here they're going to have to kick it off, and a chance for either he or me to.
And their kicking game has been suspect tonight, talking about Florida. Some missed extra points.
But their coverage on the kicks has been good. This is coming down to Falk at the 17. Breaks the tackle, and here he goes. And that's going to be a face mask. You could add on another 15 yards. Neely, I beg your pardon. Mike, they're going to get fantastic field position. If this is a major penalty, it's going to take it inside the Florida 40-yard line. Depends on if they call personal foul or incidental.
Yards, personal foul, face mask.
So,
first down.
This has been a mistake-prone kickoff.
Special teams. It's Chandler.
Yeah, it's a kicker. Wow, you give him the ball on the 38-yard line. Give him a chance to get back in this football game. LSU needs to seize the opportunity.
Small opening on the right side as George will come up and make the tackle on Falk. And it's good for a gain of about 3. So let's see if LSU can take advantage of what has been a gift by the Florida special teams. Florida now leading this one by 12 points, 22-10, but a missed extra point, a second one on the night. It was blocked in the middle. And now back-to-back 15-yard penalties. Falk, big opening, has 5, has 10, and he is flipped down at the 21-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 15 yards in the play as Tico Brown stopped him from heading to the end zone.
Kevin Falk looks like he's getting stronger as the game goes on here carrying the football. Opened up a good-sized hole on that right side of the offensive line behind Winey and Thomason.
This time they go to the left. And Falk behind his blocker, still pumping away inside the 15. He's to the 13. Grady from his strong safety spot. And again, Thomasy with an outstanding block as we check it again with Adrian Karsten. Adrian.
Ron Kevin told me yesterday at the walkthrough here, he knew this is a game where he had to go, to use an overused phrase, north and south. Couldn't run laterally, east and west, because of the speed of the Florida defensive backfield and their linebackers. And a reminder, remember that drive that they had last week against Georgia? He got better inside the red zone. He finally ran out of gas close to the goal line.
Foster and Booty to the top of the screen, and they bring the blitz, and they run right into it. The ball comes loose, but the officials say he was down, and it's Mike Peterson who applied the hit on Falk. He really blasted in.
Ron, Mike Peterson's a former quarterback that led his team to a state high school championship. He visited Michigan and Clemson. He puts a real hit here. Nice stick on Kevin Falk. Adrian was talking about in the red zone, they had that 5-yard penalty against Georgia, and that kind of upset their offense. They never recovered from that.
down, and Tyler wants to call a timeout with the third down at about 2.5 yards, and we'll take it with a 9:15 left in the ball game. It is 22-10, the Gators. Well, the defense is trying to get them going here in the swamp as LSU runs into the band and student section in the north end of the stadium, which is newly enclosed as of just about, what, 4 years ago? Third down, line to make, 11.5. Reggie McGrew fouled up everything.
Well, he did, too. He kept his pads square at the line of scrimmage. Number 92, Reggie McGrew, right here is going to make that contact. He beats the block of the offensive guard, Al Jackson. 2-down territory here to make it. You got one more shot. Herb Tyler's dangerous on the play-action pass.
Pitches it back to Falk. Looks for a block. He will not get it, and the Florida Gators will hold. We see no markers on the field, and it looks as though Derek Chambers is the man who led the charge, along with Peterson, I believe.
On a toss sweep, and Al Jackson falls down. Can't really get up to help him, but you see the pursuit. Keith Kelsey in there, and Mike Peterson. Really wasn't any place for Kevin Falk to go.
Look at this, Mike. Florida's back at the ball. LSU doesn't have their defense back to the line of scrimmage yet, and they snap it and run the play. Now, wait a minute. Doug Johnson is saying, we were set. Doesn't matter what they're doing, and it doesn't.
Yeah, they blew that whistle for play.
If this is an inadvertent whistle, Spurrier's going to go nuts. And that's exactly what it was. Good heavens.
You know what? Where they ran that play, they ran into all the LSU guys that were coming on the field.
Oh, my. What a bad error, though. Offense was set, defense running on the field, and an inadvertent whistle. This is Gillespie. He has become the man who is working with the football in the second half, and it's Mitchell down at the bottom of the staff.
You talk about Robert Gillespie. He's had to fill in since Terry Jackson's injury. A freshman, 5'9", 177. Here's LSU defensively coming in, and the ball was marked. And they didn't get on the field in time, and the whistle blew, stopping the play.
Gillespie, 7 carries, 39 yards. See the blitz off the corner, and he will make the tackle. Yeah, that's Mark Roman. You could see the free safety just crawling up, sneaking up to the line of scrimmage, and pow, then he comes up and is untouched.
Really, you got to credit Lou Tepper tonight. Now, he's changed up some things. He's blitzing from the secondary. He's caused Florida some problems. His players have dropped at least 3 interceptions that would have turned this game around. The offside penalty on the interception for the touchdown. So he really has got a good evening out of his defense.
Ball is fumbled, and now they're going to say Johnson's knee was on the ground. Doug got hit as he went on down the field, and they were blowing the whistle, and that's the reason he's upset.
It'll be a 4th down situation. They're going to force the punt. Al Ford calling his knee down. Doug Johnson, when he went down to pick up the football, his knee was down.
Wazalewski waits for the snap, 2 yards deep in his end zone. This is worst kick of the night, but picked up by Falk at the 45. And Falk gets belted out of bounds at the 40-yard line, and the Tigers have very good field position. So let's take a timeout. 6:13 left to play. Gators 22 and the Tigers 10. (22-10), and you can see just over 6 minutes to play as Doug Johnson over on the sideline talking with his head coach. Doug did not believe that he had possession when his knee was down. And when you look at this, see, now he has possession. Anyway, moot point. Poor kick by Florida, and LSU has it at the Florida 39-yard line. Going for it all, looking for Foster. A lot of pushing and shoving, but no flag, and there shouldn't have been. That was just good coverage and everybody going for the football. Tony George was out there trying to make the cover on Foster.
Rod Grady with good coverage, too. Kevin Falk picked up a block here because Bobby Stoops going to try to pressure Herb Tyler with an outside blitz, and Kevin Falk picked it up again, showing you an all-around player. Here's good coverage.
This is like a one-man route, isn't it, Mike? Or was Booty out short?
He was short.
Okay. But I didn't think there was anybody else.
Tony George running step for step.
Flag is down. The right tackle did flinch. There was movement from the defense and then the flinch, and we'll see who they call it on.
Before the ball was snapped, movement by the offensive line. 5 yards, still second down.
Mike, see it scored just a moment ago, Georgia Tech and NC State. Make your prediction. In a couple of weeks, we go to Atlanta, Georgia for Florida State at Georgia Tech. I think that may be a much better football game than what anybody wanted to believe earlier.
Georgia Tech getting better and better. Randy Etzos moved in there defensive coordinator-wise and had a little Jacksonville Jaguar defense, and it's helped them.
Tyler sets deep on second down, throws it complete at the 31. It's Reggie Robinson. Now it's going to be third down, and let's say about 2.5 yards to pick it up.
Back in that same situation they were the last series, they had the ball.
Jerry DiNardo.
He's starting to look at the clock, and he doesn't. I don't believe he's got any timeouts left either. Well, Florida had 12 men on the field, but he ran off, and then LSU moved. Lewis Williams, the tackle.
Before the ball was snapped, movement by the offensive line. 5 yards.
We have had a lot of penalties tonight. Here's the Florida player trying to get off the field, and the tackle moves. Has not been a crisp game on either side.
That's the 20th penalty. Florida has one timeout, LSU none. Tyler is sacked at the 47. And it looks as though it's going to be McGrew and Beauchamp, but it's 4 times that the Gators have gotten it.
Well, Herb Tyler's had a night of pressure. They have come after him. The linebacker, defensive lineman has hit him. After he throws, he takes some hits. He's just had a night of being pounded by this Florida defense.
Herb is a tough kid, and he's shown it tonight. He's really had to be. Gibbs kick. This is McGriff, and he'll pick it up at the 7-yard line and then run out of bounds. Little mystery play. Well, coming up next week at ESPN2, check out the high-flying aerial attack of Kentucky. Tim Couch completed 70% of his passes with 19 touchdowns. Start the day with Wisconsin and Illinois at noon. Then at night, Clemson takes on Florida State. It is Kentucky at LSU for Baton Rouge. Plus, we'll have a Division I AA special for you. Norfolk State taking on Hampton at 3. Looking looking for a spot to run, and there's no place to go. Happy to say that Frazier's back in the lineup. He went out with a rib injury back in the first half, and number 40 has come back in to the lineup for Florida. So undoubtedly they taped him up or decided that it was not quite as serious as first anticipated.
Florida wants that clock to move, but they don't want to play too conservative here against this LSU defense. Got Gillespie, the freshman, at the tailback spot.
Gillespie hit at the line of scrimmage by Roman. And let's check in with Adrian.
Ron, one of the Florida players that is a bit more serious injury-wise than they expected is receiver Terry Jackson. Sprained to his left ankle. Now, they did retape and put more ice on it, but he couldn't put any pressure on. There is a weapon they need to have in the weeks to come. He is not going to play anymore, obviously, in this game tonight.
It was a tough loss, Adrian, because he showed his senior leadership in that third quarter, and he was the difference.
He really was the difference. He was moving the football all over the place. Third down, and if they want to keep this one going, they got to take it out to the 21. And that running play is stopped for about a 4-yard loss as Joe Wesley gets penetration and stops Gillespie.
Well, what Steve Spurrier is saying on those 3 plays is I have a lot of confidence in my defense. Even if I give them the ball inside the 50-yard line, my defense is going to make LSU work that clock to get in the end zone. So tremendous confidence in his defense.
David Wazalewski has been busy here in the second half. Kevin Falk back deep again. Line drive kick, and it's returnable. Falk from the 47 on the run. And that is a nice open field tackle by number 30, Benny Alexander. That's twice that he's made open field stops on kick returns today. Old friends fly tomorrow night on ESPN Sunday Night Football. Dan Reeves returns to the Meadowlands with his surprising Atlanta Falcons as they take on Danny Cannell and the New York Giants at 8:15 Eastern. Then ABC's Monday Night Football. Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins take on the unbeaten Jacksonville Jaguars. ESPN and ABC, exclusive homes of primetime NFL.
Trying to get the ball in the backfield. Mike Peterson playing man for man on Kevin Falk. Again, showing you that he is an outstanding linebacker. A lot of the other linebackers, Ron, probably get mentioned more here at the University of Florida, but Bobby Stoops said that Mike Peterson's played as well as any linebacker he's had here in the last couple of years.
Senior out of Alachua. Tyler almost intercepted. The stepping in front was Manuel.
Herb Tyler thrown against heavy coverage now.
First looks like he is limping a little bit as he comes off the field.
Yeah, they brought Thaddeus Bullard in to replace him. And it goes back to what you said earlier. The second-team players for Florida have not done a job, and they haven't been able to substitute.
3rd and 10. Tyler zings it.
State off to good starts, but not out of the picture.
No, but you're right. With the Razorbacks and Mississippi State undefeated in conference play, and now 2 losses for the Tigers, extremely difficult. Tyler goes for the end zone. Falk is the man that he wanted, and he overthrew it. So the Florida team will take it over as they fail on the 4th down attempt. And we have 1:51 left to play in the ball game.
There's the fighter right there.
Yep.
Kevin Falk, he does not give up. And there's another one right there, Herb Tyler.
Tyler has really taken a beating tonight, and And Herb, as you know, is not a real big guy at 6 feet 203. He's really gotten bounced around. Gillespie still on his feet, and he breaks it out. Cuts it back at the 25-yard line, and he's down to the 23. Booker's probably saved a touchdown. There is a flag.
After the ball was in, we had an unfortunate right conduct foul against the offense. It's first down and 10.
I don't think Steve Spurrier agrees with the officiating tonight. Or he's chewing one of his players out.
It could have been.
Yeah, one of the two.
That could have been. But still, I don't think if I were Bobby Gaston, I'd like to talk to him.
No, but if he was chewing his player out, he'd have substituted for him.
Yeah.
Brought him to the sideline and got a little closer view.
And he can't substitute the official.
No. Sometimes you'd like to.
I start to think, if this instant, he probably would. That's Gillespie. He's going to take it for 3. Well, tonight's Visa Players of the Game from LSU, Herb Tyler. 234 yards passing and a touchdown. From Florida, Travis McGriff. 125 yards receiving, 1 touchdown, and he threw a touchdown pass. As part of their continuing effort to further the development of amateur athletics, Visa proud to donate $1,000 on behalf of these athletes to their school's General Scholarship Fund.
Check off with a pass.
Sure did. McGriff got turned around. Woods was over there covering. We got less than a minute to play, and a few people surprised at that call right there. Well, coming up next, residents in college game night. Larry Beal in the studio with an update from a busy day in college football, plus Chris, Lee, and Kirk on location in Athens, Georgia, with a wrap of today's Tennessee and Georgia game.
What happens on that, Ron, is LSU's going to bunch up and blitz, and quarterbacks are taught to check it off if you see that.
Good by the offensive line. 5 yards, still third down.
Well, if this were the first game, I might say it's understandable. But it's not the first game. Well, this is 12 penalties for 130 yards. And Gillespie will take it inside the 40. McFarland will make the tackle on him. And until they whistle it in, which they have not as yet, that should be the last play. Yep. Alford now whistles it in, and they don't have to run another one. Florida Gators are going to pick up the victory. And as Mike mentioned, a very tough loss for the gentleman you were just looking at, Jerry DiNardo. Boy, his team fought valiantly in a very difficult place to play. This means that Florida goes 51-2 under Steve Spurrier here in the Swamp. So our final score, Florida 22 and LSU 10. Stay tuned for the residents in college game night coming up next. And join us next week on Saturday primetime as Michigan, the defending national champion, takes on Northwestern at 7 Eastern. For Mike Godfrey, Adrian Karsten, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Ron Franklin. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now, once again,